The man who killed the mother of his children in a murder-suicide should not have been in the United States. Despite being deported 3 years ago, he pulled that trigger this morning at a Southeast Austin gas station. Friends of the victim tell KXAN investigator Kevin Clark she tried to get help and feared for her life.
A single mom who sold her tamales at the gas station to make ends meet. That was Veneranda Martinez.
She was that mom that would try to find every little side job to not leave her kids alone. That's what she would sell tamales. That's why a lot of people know her as a tamale. Like, she was a tamale Sierra Valero every morning.
Friday morning was no different until the father of her children stood outside her car and pulled the trigger several times as her 3 children watched in horror. They'd later tell close family friend Itzel Garcia everything.
She tried telling him, "Papi, stop, don't do this," and he wouldn't listen. They tried defending their mom and he would hit them. And it got to the point where she just collapsed on the daughter's laps.
Felix Baron then turned the gun on himself. But this story began long before it ended. We first told you about Felix Baron back in 2016 when he was convicted for inappropriately touching a 10-year-old girl here at Allison Elementary. Following that, he was deported. Fast forward to August of this year, Garcia tells me Baron had re-entered the country illegally. And she says the next few months for Martinez, her last few, were a nightmare.
Knowing someone that you were trying to help, to avoid for this not to happen.
Stalking, cyber harassment. Garcia says Martinez tried everything to protect herself.
So many times we tried to do police reports with her, trying to let them know there's proof that she's getting stalked, that she's getting accused.
But it was all to no avail. To top it off, Martinez and Baron were in a legal battle over child support and the custody of their children. 3 children now without their parents 3 weeks before Christmas. Kevin Clark, KXAN News.
We asked police about the domestic history between Martinez and Baron and were told it was something they were investigating. Martinez had not filed any restraining orders in Travis County Court. Safe Alliance wants to remind you applying for a protective order is free. They say anyone who has been a victim of violence and are afraid for their safety can apply for a 2-year protective order. After applying, a court hearing will be set where a judge will decide whether to grant the order. If granted, the person must stay away from the victim or face an arrest. But Safe Alliance also wants to remind you a protective order will only go so far.
May not be as helpful if someone isn't necessarily afraid of those consequences or they're not afraid of the law. So it's important to think about the many aspects of staying safe. That might be calling our hotline, doing safety planning. That might be trying to come into our emergency shelter. It might be going to stay with friends.
The Safe Alliance has a 24-hour confidential hotline for people looking for help with sexual or domestic violence, child abuse, or human trafficking. That hotline number is on your screen.